2023. Did you think we were going to make it? Holy moly. So we always do this radical thing at the beginning of actually we usually do it in October, but we set off on a theme at the beginning of every year. Last year, for those of you who've been around for the year, you know what the theme was. Sacred disruption. Reimagine everything. And if your life was anything like mine, I lived that theme all year long. And I think certainly our community did. And because coming out of the pandemic, everything felt like it was disrupted, right? And it was time to shift that into a moment of experiencing that as a sacred act and an opportunity to reimagine everything. So, so let's see. Here are all the ways in which I thought of in about a minute and a half of all the ways my life was sacredly disrupted and I needed to reimagine everything. First of all, Karen and I, since October of 2021, Karen and I have been on and off sick since then. And Karen is, again, not well and unable to be with us again today. So we have been reimagining our health in an extraordinarily new way, making all kinds of commitments and definitely seeing some results of that. We had a big change in work. As you know, Karen has gone off to do her wildlife photography and spirit tours, which we purchased together. That has allowed for space here at CSLDallas. My work has continued to change, and CSLDallas is continuing to reimagine itself. Our family got sacredly disrupted as my son got into a divorce, and our child care duties got expanded to the granddaughter. Oh, it's just such a tragedy. So we love being part of her life and supporting him. And out in the world, right, for women, for those of us, we were sacredly disrupted when Roe versus Wade was overturned, having a huge impact. We have the power impact on our power structures with the threats to democracy, and we are continuing to see the impact of our choices on our climate, which is impacting all of us. Sacred being continually disrupted in large ways, which invites us to reimagine, right? We've been over and over again. I don't know about you, but this is just a little tiny piece, a slice of what has been sacredly disrupted in my life and what has begun to be reimagined. So what I'm going to invite you to do now is I'm going to invite you to turn to a neighbor, and I'm going to give you each 1 minute, and I'm going to ring the bell at 1 minute, and I want you to just share with your neighbor what comes to your mind, the first thing or two or three that you felt like 2022 was really, where was the sacred disruption that invited you to reimagine everything, okay? So I'm going to give you each a minute. So just turn to your neighbor, and ready, set, go. Or get a threesome if you need to. Bring somebody else into your group. All right, switch. And for those of you at home, be sure to turn to your people at home and make your sharing. All right, just inviting you to finish up your sharing. I hope at home, even if you were by yourself, you had an opportunity to think about it, where you were sacredly disrupted and how you were invited to begin to reimagine everything. The very first thing that we could notice is that we're here. Right? Some of us are not here, but we have survived our sacred disruption, and others have chosen to use that sacred disruption to move on into the light, as was so beautifully said in our centering time this morning. So we hope that the year has been an opportunity for us to make friends with disruption. Right? That was the point, to make friends with disruption, to not resist it quite so hard, to allow it to be an invitation for us to reimagine everything. Some of that reimagining, as in my own life, as you can tell, did not go so well because I kept getting sick again and again and again. So I have an online personal trainer. I know, is right? Because boy, when I put money behind it, I'm not going to waste that money. I mean, I tried for years to do it on my own. Fail. Put some good money behind it. I'm there. I'm doing it, right? Really paying attention to what I'm eating, really paying attention to the fact that I have not been intaking enough vitamins and some of the supplements that I know my body really enjoys, and enjoying a little too much of the type of food that my body does not want. And so a whole year of reimagining. And what I notice is come to the end of this year, I feel healthier than I did when I was 30. Yeah, right? So all of that disruption and the reimagining, do you see? The outcome has the possibility of being something really amazing. When, instead of beating ourselves up for it, making ourselves feel bad, resisting it, telling the story about how awful it is over and over and over again, when we make friends with it and we allow it to be a reimagining, some really amazing things can open up. That does not necessarily mean that everything that was disrupted we want to take into 2023, does it? I'd like to leave all of that firmly behind me in 2022. I'd like to leave all of that behind. And so that begins to be the thought as we move towards our burning bowl. The burning bowl is an opportunity for us to burn away that which we do not want to carry into this coming year. So it can be an activity, it can be a consciousness, it can be something that has been, that we've been carrying around. It can be a belief, it can be whatever it is that we do not want to carry around with us and bring into 2023. So you should have received a piece of flash paper as you came in. If you do not have your flash paper, would you raise your hand, and the greeters and folks will be able to come around. We've got some at the front here. So just keep your hands raised until the ritual team or the greeters can come around and get you a flash paper. You want to make sure you also have a pen. You're going to need a pen for this activity, and you're going to need a pen later on. So the greeters and ritual team are also coming around with pens. So we're taking care of all the business so we can be all prepared. So keep your hands up. And don't write on your flash paper quite yet, because we are going to take a moment to breathe that in. All right, we're just Just taking care of business here. Now, for those of you at home, flash paper burns really easily. Do not burn a regular piece of paper in your house, okay? It's going to stink and make a mess. So you're going to get a little regular piece of paper that you're going to write on, and then when we're burning it here, what you're going to do is you're going to take that piece of paper and you're going to tear it up in little teeny tiny pieces. So don't get a really big piece of paper, okay? Just like the flash papers are about this big, okay? So you want a piece of paper about that big because you are not writing your life story. You're not writing every bad thing that happened over the past year, right? We're going to have a small piece of paper. So get your small piece of paper at home, one that's easy to tear. Probably not a 3x5 card. That would be harder. Just something easy. All right. Oh, thank you very much. I really appreciate that, and I need mine too. All right. So I'm going to invite you now just to close your eyes with me for just a moment and go within. Just breathe. And I want you to cast your mind back over 2022 and know that the wisdom and intelligence that is the consciousness moving in, through, and as you knows that which needs to be released right here, right now. That thought, that idea, that reoccurring pattern, that thing, that one event, whatever it is, just allow it to arise in your consciousness. And as you become aware of what that is, I want you to write it down on your paper. All right. Remember, you're not writing your life story. We're consolidating. It could be 2 or 3 things. You do have a back side of your paper you're welcome to use. Front side, back side, whatever you want to do. So we use ritual. We use kinesthetic motion. We use words, sounds, sights, smells, all to anchor in intentionality and the actuality of releasing. And so this is why we do these rituals. It's so much more than simply saying to a friend, well, I'm going to release this thing from 2022. So I want you to really imagine, as we move through this portion of the ritual, I want you to really sense, feel, know that your whole system, your energetic system, your body, your heart, your mind, your soul, is participating and contributing. For those of you at home, since you will not be in the sanctuary moving with us, we are going to be chanting. We're going to be singing a song, Flow Through Me. We'll sing it repetitively until everybody has come up and placed their flash paper in the bowl. And so as silly as it may sound, I would invite you to get up and walk around your living room. Walk around your space, wherever you are that you're listening. You don't want to miss the whole ritual aspect, and allow yourself to simply be with the words and the intention that you hold. The music team is going to come up here and lead us in the chant. The ritual team is going to come up, and they are going to release you row by row and help you know how to maneuver around so that we don't run into each other. So we're going to invite the ritual team to themselves organized as well, and have the music team come on up here. And you can go ahead and put your flash paper in the bowl. Perfect. Perfect. All right. So we're just going to repeat this over and over and over again until everybody has had an opportunity to place their flash paper in the bowl. Please begin.
Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love. Flow, Spirit, flow through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding peace. Show, Spirit, show through me as I open up to be an expression of your unfolding love.
Your unfolding love,
Your unfolding love.
your unfolding love,
Your unfolding love.
your unfolding love.
Your unfolding love.
So, by putting everything in here, and for those of you at home, by having participated here in your walking around, you are creating space. Space in consciousness, space in your heart, space in your life, because this is getting released. And are you ready? All right, I'm going to suggest that you stand up. So we've made space. We're allowing Spirit to flow through us, to open our lives up, to be the presence and the light and the love that we truthfully are all the time. And so we release 2022 for all the good, for all the indifferent, for all that it hasn't been, for all that it's been, to prepare ourselves for 2023. And off it goes. Yes, and not all of this was flash paper. Not all of this was flash paper. Yep. So it has not flashed. It still works. However, I'm going to need a couple of guys to come here and pull this out, and because we're going to have the sprinkler system go off. Could we? Could we take this out? Yep. Thank you. Take this right out to the outside. Yep. We're releasing it. Okay. So here we go. Please stay standing.
1, 2, 3.
Arise, shine, and see a brand new morning. Arise, shine, we made it through the night. Arise, shine, it's a brand new day that's starting. Come celebrate the light. Celebrate a new day. Celebrate the beauty of the earth. Come and look at life in a new way. Celebrate the wonder of your.
Say that again.
Come and celebrate a new day. Celebrate the beauty of the earth. Come and celebrate in a new way. Celebrate the wonder of your.
Sing, sing, sing.
Arise, shine, and see a brand new morning. Arise, shine, we made it through the night. Arise, shine, it's a brand new day that's dawning. Come celebrate the light.
Come celebrate the light.
Come celebrate the light.
Celebrate the light.
Come celebrate the light.
Thank you. You may be seated. Ooh, there's a little lingering odor of 2022, and we're just going to keep letting it waft on out. See why I told you you just have to, at home, you just have to tear it up in little tiny pieces? So here's what happens when we release and let go, right? We have nothing. It's gone. It's an empty space. It's an empty space, right? And it's so interesting that this always happens right at this time of the year. And actually had a dear friend of mine say to me, I wonder why the year doesn't start on winter solstice. Because that's the longest night, right? It's the longest night, and at that moment, the year starts to turn. And wouldn't it make sense that that was the beginning of the next new year? And so we're kind of borrowing that idea. Okay, it's a few, 10 days away, but still, mostly long nights, short days. And those long nights, right, as we have talked about, we talked a little bit about it in our Christmas Eve celebration, in those long nights when it looks like there's nothing going on, there's actually a lot going on. It's just all subterranean. It's all underground. It's all in the background of our consciousness. And there's an empty space. Sometimes we want to grab onto the new before we've actually released the old. And we don't get to sit in the emptiness of the in-between. So I'm going to invite us right now to sit for a moment in the emptiness, in this empty space. So I'm just going to invite you to close your eyes if you choose. Join us at home, closing your eyes, taking a breath. Taking a breath in the quiet. Right now, in this moment, there's nothing that you need to do. There's nothing you need to figure out or control or manage. Something has been let go of. And a space has been created. silent, quiet space. Just breathe. This sacred chalice is an invitation. So simply allow your space, your sacred inner space, this sacred chalice, to become an invitation. An invitation to spirit, to life. And so we're going to make that invitation now, purposefully. If you know this piece of music, you do not need to open your eyes. If you don't, you may certainly read it off the PowerPoint.
Here I am, a vessel to be used. Whatever spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be. I will be. Whatever spirit needs of me, I will be, I will be, I will be.
And so it is for spirit to be the impress, the impulse of love that is now and has always been pouring in through us, filling the chalice of our lives, being the very essence and truth of our being. And it is when we release that which stands in the way, when we release the resistance, the story, the angst, the unconsciousness, when we release those things, we become aware of this which has already always been flowing through us. And we can be that place of awakening. So, take a breath. Take a breath. Breathe it in. So, here we are. Empty space. An empty space. Like in winter. But what happens in the spring? What happens in the spring? New growth, right? New growth. Something happening and beneath the soil begins to emerge. Begins to feel that impulse and that impress. And we've done enough isolation. We've done enough disruption for newness to have been invited in. So this year our theme is something entirely different. What you are about to see is the revelation of our theme, and we will thank the master creator, Ryan Brown, for this rendition of our 2023 theme. Emergence. Emergence. No tagline, no direction, just emergence. Notice it does not say emergency. We are done with emergencies. We're done with crisis. We're done with sacred disruption. We've made friends with it. We're no longer afraid of it. We know how to deal with it when it happens. What it seems to me now is called for is the regrowth of things, the growing of new things, these new things that we've imagined, these reimaginings that have been seeds that we've been planting. We've been planting them in our consciousness, we've been planting them in our hearts. And my thought about it is, although I'm not affirming this for anybody in specific at all, I'm not affirming it for myself, but my experience is that sometimes seeds take time to grow. We in our culture today, we are addicted to instant gratification. As spiritual beings who often have Jesus held up as the way shower, we are expecting instantaneous manifestations, right? I mean, he had people walk on water and stilled the storm and all kinds of things. He walked on water. He had people get up and walk. That's what I meant to say. And we expect instant manifestations. We expect our demonstration to happen now and maybe tomorrow. Next week, yeah, maybe. And if it doesn't, we think we're doing something wrong. Or my least favorite thing that I ever hear anybody say, and that is that Spirit doesn't want me to have it. Spirit has a different idea in mind. I'm not supposed to have it. It could be that the seed is germinating. What happens when a seed is germinating? This is not a rhetorical question. What happens when a seed is germinating? The shell gets soft, it breaks open, the roots go deep, and can you see it? No, you cannot. All that we just named, all is happening underground. And we can't see it. But what do? We water, we fertilize, we cultivate the soil, knowing full well that seed is in that ground. And that we are, in fact, expecting it to grow. Now, if you're like me, when I have had gardens in the past, I've had huge organic gardens, and when I've had gardens in the past and I've planted new things, I go out and I do what I need to do to cultivate the soil and to take care of it, and I look every day. And what am I experiencing? Cheerful expectancy. I am expecting those leaves to come up. And when they do, what happens? Yes, that's right. Yay! We celebrate every leaf, every seed, every single one of them is celebrated. But not in surprise. Not in surprise, but in celebration that it is emerging, it is growing. And I can look at those little leaves and I can taste the tomatoes I'm going to have later in the summer. Right? Can't we? Which is, of course, why the master teachers used so many agricultural parables, and why in the science of mind we so often use the seed, soil, and plant as our deepest metaphor for the co-creative process. The co-creative process, our job is to plant the seed. And what we do is we feel which seeds want to be planted. We sense what is being called for from us, what is wanted in our garden of life, and we plant those seeds. And then we allow the soil and the sun and the rain and our cultivation of it all to work together, and it begins to grow. I have never stood in my garden and cursed a plant for not growing the way I wanted it to. I may be concerned, I may need to cultivate it some more, I may need to prune it, I may even need to pluck it out so others, plants on either side, can grow. But I don't beat the plant up. And how many of us do that to ourselves or to our creations that we are cultivating in our own lives that aren't happening fast enough? It's a piece of the science of mind and new thought that I think we miss. Thomas Troward called it specifically the law of growth. Ernest Holmes called it emergent evolution. That it is emerging and evolving from the impulse. The impulse might be an idea. It might be a desire. It might be just a feeling. It might be an intention or a call. But that impulse needs to be cultivated, and it takes time for it to grow. The law of growth. Why is it called a law? Because seeds are designed to grow. Inherent within the seed is everything that is needed to guide that plant to become what it is to become. Do you see? We can trust our own impulses. We can trust our own most deepest desires. Not the impulses, as Emerson says, of the eating and drinking person, right? Not the outer impulses, but our deepest impulse to love, to contribute, to make music or art or raise a granddaughter or speak words or teach or do accounting or save the world. Do you see? Those deepest impulses and that impress, that's what Spirit is pouring into our vessel, which is the impulse of life itself. And then it gets shaped by us, by this filter system, this outlet, this expression. It gets shaped, and it looks one way for one person and differently for another. And yet, that which is shaped and comes forth is designed to grow. Do you see? It's designed to grow. And it already has within it the intelligence of everything that is needed. This is what we are trusting when we say we then trust the process. We trust the creative process. And yes, sometimes along the way, we have to do a little pruning, we have to do a little trimming, we have to do a little cutting, we have to do a little replanting, right? It doesn't just magically happen, and it doesn't just magically look perfect. It looks holy, like holy itself. But every plant has a different number of leaves, and they all grow differently around the stalk. They don't look the same. And that is what is seeking to emerge from each of us. So what's needed now in 2023? What's needed for our lives to emerge, to participate in this emergence into this whole new life experience that has been so disrupted and is now being reimagined? And maybe it's being reimagined by some people and some technologies and some ways of being in the world that don't actually align with the spiritual truth, or that don't actually align with how we believe life is the most healthy, the most cultivated for love and joy and beauty and truth to grow. And so now it's our time. It's our turn. It's being called from us to allow this emergence and for us to be a part of it, to plant our seeds and to trust the process that they are emerging. So what the idea is, the impulse, the impress that says this is what's being called for. And then we cultivate our soil. We cultivate our soil just like we do in our garden, cultivating it with consciousness, with spiritual practices, with good friends, people who will tell us the truth even when we don't want to hear it. People who will support us when we've hit the ground on our knees. All the things that we do to fertilize and cultivate our consciousness and our life. And then when our plant begins to grow, we may have to stake it up. We may have to prune it. We may have to fence it in. We may have to do things to continue to allow it to emerge into its fullness, which in the space-time continuum is an emergent evolution. So we cultivate with a willingness to change. We cultivate with steadiness and patience. We cultivate with experimentation and feedback. Well, those seeds don't really work well in this particular zone. It's too cold, or it's too hot, or it's not enough water, right? It's just feedback. So nobody did anything wrong. It's just feedback. And so we learn and we decide. We learn and we decide. And the most important thing is this greater commitment to willingness and to perseverance. Willingness and to perseverance. The willingness to hear the feedback, to see what's going on, and the perseverance to keep at it and keep at it and keep at it. Do you see? It's a willingness and a perseverance. It's a listening and a learning and a choosing. It's a constant process that we are in. It's the dance of life. Because what's going to happen to these beautiful flowers that are even in our annual theme? Eventually, they will have bloomed. And they will go back into the soil, nourish the soil, so new blooms can come. Over and over and over again, right? That's the cycle. We're not seeking perfection. We're seeking to express the life that wants to be lived as us. Not just through us, but as us. Do you see? The chalice is the pouring in of life itself to allow that impress and impulse, but the outflow is where our choices come in and our participation. And so this dance is constantly happening and evolving and growing our lives, our contribution, our community, the impact that we have in DFW and around the world, in your life, and the impact that you're having in all of the things that you're doing and engaging in. There is something calling because the world needs us. The world needs us now more than ever. And it's not just to say, oh, I'm going to be the light. It is actually to get our hands dirty in the garden. It is to go and stake up the plants. It is to cultivate the soil. It is to engage with this emerging process that allows us to sit in quiet, in meditation, in openness, in contemplation, in intention setting, and then to be in the world and to engage in the emerging, evolving process. Do you see? That's our dance too. To listen and then to act, to hear, sense, feel the impulse, feel the impress, and then to do. And my friends, change is required. It is required for our species to survive and for us not to wipe out all the other species on the planet. It is emerging as an evolving opportunity for us not just to be the light in consciousness, but to also be the light in action, in engagement, in the new seeds that are being called for. And each and every one of us is being called. So, that is our question for 2023. So if the greeters and the ritual team, if you would pass out our intention card, you're going to receive a card. I ask you not to do anything with it until you have received it. It's going to be just passed down the rows. Just take a bunch and pass them down. You will need your pen. And so we want to ask ourselves, what is being called for? What wants to grow out of this space we've created? There's this beautiful space that's been created. It's been created in consciousness. And something is being called for. Something has been pushing, or something is pulling. And it is wanting to emerge. And what we want to do is to support that emergence, to engage actively with it. So I just need a card up here too as well. I didn't bring one up, so if somebody could bring me, thank you so much. Thank you. You'll notice this beautiful, fabulous image is on one side so that you have that. And you're going to write some things down. So we always put these on our refrigerator. We put them in our altar. So this is something for you to have for the year to help continue to remind you to be patient, to be willing, to be flexible and adaptable as things are shifting and changing, to not only continue to hear the call, but then as the plant is growing, to hear what it needs, right? So it's this constant dance that's happening between us and that which is seeking to emerge. All right. Now, so you're not going to be writing on your paper anything right now. We're going to have a little inspiration. We're going to have a little inspiration here from the fabulous Candy Williams. Come on up here with a fabulous Faith Rivera song.
Actually, this is a dance break. I'm just here to tell you. Yep. You, right here. This is y'all. The world is waiting for you. I want to hear you say it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, right here. The world is waiting for you. Yeah, hey. 1, 2, 4. Here we go. Well, I'm gonna dance if nobody else does. The clock goes tick-tock, your heart beats hip-hop. You know there's something greater you're called to be. You shut your eyes tight and breathe real deep. And you slowly open your eyes, take in the moment and feast your sight on all the possibility. You're a little nervous at how your dreams are coming to be. Everything, every turn has led you to this place, and everyone around is here to put you in a higher space. Yeah. The world for you. Right on, you're a one in a universe superstar. The world is waiting for you. Get your groove on you, trailblazing wonder that you are. That's what you are. You are the difference this very instant. And now the time has come to be humanity. See it open. Know you're right there. And the every step it turns, you see the good people rising up. What if I told you you're the one that brings a higher love? Yeah, 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 yeah. Sing, the world is waiting for you. Right on, you're one in a universe superstar. The world is waiting for you. Get your groove on you, trailblaze and wonder that you are. I know who you are. Listen, they say the past is peace is hard, but we can get it right. And they say that we're going crazy, but we can love it back to life. And I got a faith in you, I know you can inspire. Yeah, 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 yeah. Right on, you one in a universe superstar. The world is waiting for you. Get your groove on you, trailblaze and wonder that you are. Hey, that you are. The healer that you are. You're a healer, yes you are. Bright, shining superstar.
Thank you, Candy and band. Thank you so much. The World is Calling You by Faith Rivera, sung by the beautiful Candy. Thank you so much. The world is calling, and we're being called to make more cards. So we have we need more intention cards. So they're being made right now upstairs, and will be cut if we don't get them in time for the whole ritual. You will be able to get them as you walk out the door if you did not get one. Okay, so just remember what comes up for you. All right. So that's the thing, right? What is being called for? What wants to emerge? What wants to emerge? So we're going to have Brad play some lovely intention-setting music in the background. He knows what that is. And you'll notice on your card are two questions. What is the year of emerging evolution as I grow toward my greater yet to be? And the second one, as we grow toward our greater yet to be. So if we could have all the lights up, we probably need the lights in the back up. I noticed some people are using their flashlight on their phone. So if we could have those lights turned on. I'm just going to invite you for a moment to just go within. Before you start writing, just go within. The world is waiting for you. The world is waiting for us. There is a seed that has been planted in your heart, your consciousness, your soul. There is something that wants to emerge. Maybe it's been wanting to emerge for months, maybe even for years, maybe your whole life. Or maybe it's a brand new thing that because everything is disrupted and everything is being reimagined, there's all of a sudden a space, an opening for possibility. And rather than filling it from the outside, something is calling. Something wants to emerge. So, what is wanting to emerge in your life? What are you planning on cultivating this year? What seeds do you want to plant? These questions are both for you in your own personal life, and they're also about your contribution to the healing of our culture and the care of our planet. And so as you listen, this is not a laundry list of resolutions. This is hearing Spirit's call, what the world is waiting for from you. When you are ready, please fill out your card. For those of you at home, our two statements are 2023 is the year of emerging evolution as I grow toward my greater yet to be. And for the second statement, 2023 is the year of emerging evolution as we grow toward our greater yet to be. And as you write it down, I invite you to sign it as a statement of your commitment to that which wants to emerge in your life, that you want to bring forth and cultivate and grow as an expression of life as you. And so as we come to completion, inviting you to finish up your writing, you can always go back to it. If you want to take a deeper dive with me, please do sign up for the immersive experience. It's in person only. For those of you who are on campus, please join me at 1 for an immersive experience. We'll go a little deeper on how we actually engage in this emerging process and fall in love with the law of growth. You are all invited for lunch which is directly across the breezeway on the other side. So what do you do with seeds? You plant them, don't you? So the ritual team has created a beautiful garden of soil. And we're going to leave our ritual today. The ritual team will release you by rows, and you'll be invited to plant your seed as you walk through the tunnel that we created. Want you to imagine as you're walking through that you are in the soil and you are beginning to break through. So if we want to open up back in the back there, that would be great. So this will be the completion of our ritual. You will walk out through that archway, and you will walk right out those doors, those back doors, into the blazing sun, right? Emerging out of the darkness. And so the ritual team will release you. Please do join us over where the culinary team has created a beautiful lunch. So we're going to invite the music team to come on up here. We're going to sing this song as we are moving out. So here we go.
Life is in me, moving through me, beyond question, steady and strong. Power and essence is my essence, been within me all along.